Good morning, everyone. I'm Captain Russ Davies, Public Information Officer for the Annapolis County Fire Department. We thank you for your continued support and for helping us out and getting the message out. I'm going to speak briefly at first, and then I'm going to introduce Captain Robert Howarth, H-O-W-A-R-T-H, who is the commander of our Fire and Explosives Investigation Unit for the Annapolis County Fire Department, who is the lead investigation agency for this incident. The purpose now is we just want to provide you an update of what's transpired over the last 12 to 24 hours so you know where things stand. Kind of give you some better detail of what I've been explaining as far as some of the challenges we're seeing. And then Captain Howarth is going to go into detail of what the next 12 to 24 hours are going to bring, and then we'll answer questions. It's our intention that this will be the only media briefing for today. We'll hold another media briefing tomorrow at 10:30 just to give you an update for what has transpired since the briefing today. If for some reason something significant changes, we will notify you, and then we will hold another briefing. A couple things that we found that's been reported in the media that we would like to make some corrections on. We've seen some comments attributed to us that there's going to be a 24-hour time frame for the search and for the investigation. As you'll hear from Captain Howard, that's not a realistic expectation. We're going to be looking at this as an extended operation. As we'll get into the details, you'll see we're going to be talking about days, not hours, to get this done. Another item that's been reported is that the fire started on the second floor. That is not information that we have. The investigation phase has not begun yet enough that we can start to give any idea of what the origin may have been. An update from yesterday, as we've reported to you, from speaking to the family, they've advised us that they do have 6 family members that they cannot account for. Based on interviews with them, the house is going to be the primary focus of where we're going to be attempting to locate them. However, this is a very active investigation. We will continue to pursue any lead that we get and attempt to locate the occupants. With that, I'm going to turn the rest of the briefing over to Captain Howard, and then we'll entertain some questions.
The Annapolis County Fire Department, the Fire Investigation Section, is currently setting up for an extended operation to conduct an investigation into this house fire and try to locate the unaccounted for 6 individuals. Over the next 12 hours, there's going to be a lot of heavy equipment coming in here, setting up to prepare for this investigation. We have some very unique challenges with this house. This house is 16,000 square feet. The construction of the house contained a lot of very heavy materials. We're looking at some steel beams that weigh in the area of 7 tons. We need to bring specialized equipment in to do that. The entire 16,000 square feet has collapsed. So we'll be doing an extensive digging operation to get down and try to locate not only the origin of the fire, the cause of the fire, and any of the unaccounted for victims. We have requested assistance from Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms from their national response team. There will be experts coming in from around the country to assist us on this investigation, and they bring a set of resources that we don't have available locally at the drop of a hat. So they're coming in to help us. They will be arriving today, and we will be moving forward from there. So I can take a couple questions. This is still an active investigation, so I can't answer everything, but I'll take a couple questions, and if I can answer it, I'll be glad to.
Officially, the people are missing. They are not presumed dead, they are missing. I just want to make sure we're clear.
Officially, the people are missing and unaccounted for. We do not declare anyone deceased until we know for sure and have recovered evidence that a person is deceased.
So would you characterize this as a crime scene or being managed as a crime scene right now, and is that the case? Could you elaborate on that?
Yes. This is being managed as a crime scene. This is an active criminal investigation at this point. That does not mean that there has been a crime committed. What that means is we are processing evidence, we are processing the scene, and we are conducting ourselves in a manner that should we discover that a crime has been committed, everything that we've done up to that point is valid and sustainable in a court of law.
Captain, could you just expand upon that, because that immediately sends up, obviously, a big red flag. So is that a standard status at this point in a case like this, or is there something that is pointing you in that direction?
No, that is a standard status in this type of case. And the reason that's a standard status is we have no witness that can tell us where this fire started. We have no one that can say, I was standing here and saw the fire in this place first. So because of that, we have to plan for, if it was a criminal act, that everything we do is able to be supported in that act. We enter these investigations with no expectation. We enter them to find out what the truth is, and if it's a criminal act, we proceed as a criminal act. If it's an accidental act, we proceed as an accidental act.
Can you give us any idea of your impression of how quickly this fire spread?
I cannot give you that impression now. I don't know. We don't have enough data yet.
Captain, in your experience, how would you characterize this fire? 16,000 square feet, 50 people. This is...
I'll put it into perspective of the standard house, 2,500 square feet. So you're looking at 5 standard houses put together. 6 people in 5 standard houses, not a lot. Put them in one big house like this. This is more of a commercial fire than it is a residential fire. There are a lot of businesses that aren't 16,000 square feet. That adds to it. This house is constructed much more like a commercial structure. So that's part of the challenge that we're facing. This, of course, was a very serious fire. This is not something that we would deal with every day, but it is something we are prepared to deal with.
And how are your guys? I mean, these are 4 young children potentially in there. Does this got that difficult?
I'm sure that it does. We're all professionals. We all do this on a daily basis, and our job is to conduct the investigation, determine what happened, and that's what we do every day.
Considering how much there is on the house and 3 floors basically all collapsing on, I mean, how much mess is there for you guys to really go through right now?
I couldn't give you an accurate weight, but I will tell you that we are going to be here for several days removing debris.
Have you been inside at all yet? Anyone been inside?
No one has been inside.
The debris, I mean, you've got water, you got everything else, right?
That is correct.
When might
Can you talk to us
investigators
about the
get
fire
inside?
protection in the house and the alarm protection? Can you talk to us about the fire protection in the house and the alarm protection and the circumstance that despite all of those systems appearing to work, that there was no call for help from inside the home?
The only thing that we know that appeared to work was the initial alarm that was received by our 911 center. Fire protection, beyond that, I can't answer because we haven't gotten that far into the structure itself to determine that.
You're talking about
you
you talk about an alarm like a regular security alarm
Yeah.
type.
Fire alarm.
Okay.
It looks like this is the kind of house that would have video cameras too. Did anything go to a cloud, or was there anything saved that could give you some clues?
I'm not able to discuss that yet as part of the investigation.
What
There
about
was
a sprinkler system?
right?
This was built prior to the sprinkler system requirements.
Or in
There was no sprinkler system. You had a question.
And so if it's days to remove debris, when might investigators first get inside the property?
We've been around the property. We can see. We've started our investigation. Tomorrow morning, we expect to be the first time inside the actual foundation of the structure. That's what it's going to take to get the equipment here and the people here.
So the alarms we're talking about, were these smoke detectors that set off alarms? Was there smoke detection involved, or how do you characterize this
I
alarm?
can only tell you that we received an alarm. We don't have the information of exactly how the alarm was transmitted or received at this point.
So it's fair for us to report it's unknown whether or not that system may have alerted people inside the home.
It is fair to say that it is unknown at this time. It is under investigation.
Very good, thank you.
Can you, going back to yesterday with some of the confusion about whether there were people home or if they were out of town, can you just kind of tell us how you were able to determine where you got to where we are today in terms of where people were and sort of what was going on with people in the house?
We got to where we are today knowing that there are 6 people unaccounted for. We still do not have 100% proof that they're in this house. The indications are this house is the primary place that we're going to focus on. We obtained that information from other family members and interviews with them.
Where else would they be if they're not here?
We don't know that. But we can't, until we have that specific information, say that they're there for sure.
Are there any cars missing?
I'm not going to divulge that because of the investigation.
Considering the damage, do you think that you will be able to determine what exactly happened here, how it happened, the cause?
It's way too early to tell that. Way too early.
Everything was destroyed.
It's way too early to say what we will and will not be able to determine.
Can you give us the best picture available of the 6 who are unaccounted for? Obviously, there's a private school that has closed classes today for its lower school. What are we talking about? Children under 11?
I'm not willing to discuss that at this time because it's part of the investigation.
But we are talking about children and adults.
Correct.
Was the gate open or closed when you got here? Did it slow you down?
The gate is open all the time.
Can you just sort of describe the debris field you're going to have to sift through that's in the basement there?
The best way to describe it is 3 floors of a house collapsed into the basement.
It looks like there's some smoke or something rising a little bit to the left there. Do you still have some sort of smoldering going on in the basement? Or
We do. We have active fire still burning in the house. We are constantly monitoring that. Because of the debris, the fire is burning deep-seated. We don't have the ability to get down to that level yet. So as the fire appears, we then extinguish that portion of the fire. That's why you'll see the fire engine here 24 hours a day until we're finished the investigation.
That would be the basement, right? Where the fire
In the
is
basement,
active.
that's correct.
Do you have any
Characterize
reason
the
to
efforts
believe that
authorities
this is
have
anything
made
other
to
than a
contact
tragic accident?
the missing people? For instance, talk to employers, family members, and others. Can you characterize that for us?
No, that is still part of the investigation.
Any reason to believe this was anything other than a tragic accident?
Right now, I don't even know that it was a tragic accident or a crime. I'm not believing anything until we have evidence that shows one way or the other. For me to characterize this as an accident or as a criminal act would be putting my opinion prior to the investigation, and I'm not going to put my opinion out there prior to the investigation without any evidence to support that opinion. So right now, we have a fire with unaccounted for people. We believe that the house is the primary subject that we're looking at, where the people may be. But beyond that, there is no other opinion that we're willing to render until we have evidence to support what those opinions are.
Can you tell us anything about the family and what your role working with them has been? Obviously, this has to be a terribly hard time for them.
No, I can't discuss that right now. That's part of the investigation with this. We have not had a fire of this magnitude with the number of unaccounted for people, but a fire of this size, yes, we've had numerous fires that are equal in size to this and equal in damage.
Are you aware of any threats or any other unusual circumstances in that room?
Again, you know I'm going to tell you that's part of the investigation. I understand.
Okay, we thank you for your time. Tentatively, unless there's a significant development in the next 24 hours, the next briefing will be tomorrow morning at 10:30. We'll re-announce it tomorrow. We'll reissue the press release today that just goes over some of the details that we've made available. And I'll be remaining on site if if there's some further questions later on in the day.
When do you think
Thank
you might
very much.
confirm any names?